And then I'm going to start at the end with my tidbit that I was like, what? Because
Hello, cozy detectives, and welcome to the Blanket Fort Files. I'm Larisa.
And I'm Joy.
And the next time you're in the checkout line and you hear the beep, think of all the fun you can have on Supermarket Sweep.
Oh my word. Yes. I'm actually so excited. Okay. Now that you
Me
said
too.
that,
I was like,
it's like already
I had to
unlocking memories.
I know. I had to write it. I have the little closing line in my head, but I had to write it down because I'm like, okay, I'm going to surprise her with this. I have to like get this right. And I thought
Cute.
we could close out with the line from yours because that'd be so
Yes.
iconic. Yeah.
Very iconic. And I have like a thing about that too.
Ooh,
Which
I'm
we'll
excited.
discuss. We'll discuss in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like you could tell what time of day it is by like
I know.
how
I
much
hope you're
light is in
not
my
blinded
eye.
like last week.
I know slowly it just started like where is it at? Like here, it just started like going into my eye. Whatever.
Yeah.
It happens,
But
you know.
if you
But
are watching us, you may see, or
oh
maybe if
yeah.
you're listening, there's a little bit of an upgrade in quality
I hope
because
so.
I know we got new microphones.
Larissa got a pink one.
Of
Love
course,
it.
very
I
on
literally saw
brand.
the mic and I was like, there's a pink version.
I know.
I was
I
like,
was like
okay,
sold.
this is our mic. I just got the white one. I just think it's cute.
It's
But
very
it's got a
classy.
little light at the bottom. And so we're
Oh, I
hoping
should
that it
tilt
doesn't
mine.
distract us.
You have yours tilted. I think I have it backwards to tilt. Hang on. Let me.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
did that because I just did that because I wasn't sure. I don't know. You know, we're figuring it out. Maybe I should have
Yeah.
put the plug in on the other side.
I know.
That's
I
just
just
living my
realized that,
life.
but I was like, oh, I can tilt it towards me and pick up that Christmas. So hopefully, if you're listening, it sounds better. We'll see.
Yeah, I think so. And then I sound okay from your side?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Coming
Well,
in
here we
clear.
go. We're in the blanket fort now with our new mic, with our new. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny too because you said this and I was like, oh yeah, it kind of does look like our new logo, and it's like it's kind of meant to
Yeah, and
be.
then I have the pink one, so it's like, ta-da!
So cute.
So
Oh, I didn't know that
perfect.
your little plug was pink. My little plug should be white. I have just a boring old black plug.
Aw,
I want a color.
boo. Yeah.
I know if there was like a blue or a green or a something, I'd have gotten that. But I do like white. I don't think I'll stain it. We'll see throughout time.
As you like knock on it, you're like,
Yeah. Oopsies. So
all
what's been
good.
up? What's been new with you this week? Oh, actually, you have updates of things that you
Yes.
did.
Oh, but real quick, because I also have something I want to do a show and tell of, and I forgot to grab it. So let
Ooh,
me go
yeah,
get that really fast. As you can hear my little glasses clink as I walk
yeah.
by.
Cute.
Anyways, okay. So I have a few updates. One was I was originally going to talk about when this episode, but we had to push back by a few days because we are both really tired. We're still kind of tired today. So if we seem a little low energy, we're trying. But I feel like part of the Blanket Fort magic is we come alive just a little bit.
Yeah.
But I did an arts and crafts project with some of my friends.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. Is that the one that you picked as like that's the Oh, it's on both sides.
Yeah, because I couldn't
Two different things.
decide. Yeah.
Oh,
So we
cute.
did summer vision boards
Cute.
and cut up a bunch of magazines, made two different vibes. If you're listening, one side is kind of an Ina Garden in the Hamptons, coastal grandma vibe, and then the other one is more of like hot pink girly pop summer, which, as
Yeah.
you mentioned, and this is kind of what I was thinking too, they're very much the two sides of my personality.
Yeah. She said that to me and I was like, this looks like both sides of you. But I think that's the best part of it too. And the summer feeling of it.
Yeah.
Lord, I am gonna have to. Okay, so behind the scenes, cozy detectives. I was like, I want to put on this lip balm thing, and then I didn't, and then I put it on just my bottom lip, and I have one lip, so I have to do it.
Aw.
LOL. Okay, we keep going.
Those are
Bam,
really
bam, bam.
two little dots.
Well, it's like one of those tingle ones. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not. I know it kind of creeps me out sometimes because I'm like ah. So
yeah.
anyway, if it looks like I've had wine, we're figuring it out. It's that day.
We still do need to
Oh,
do our
God.
little cozy wind down on YouTube at some point.
Yeah,
But my
that's true.
other little update, fun cozy times. So this past weekend, it was jam-packed, a lot's going on, but I can't remember. I think I just told you this, Joy, off pod. I can't remember if I said it
I know,
on air. It's
right? It
always
happens
hard
to
to
me.
remember. Um, but my friend Bradley, who is behind Brad Bakes, who is literally the inspiration behind Edie Gilmore,
Yeah.
came down for a visit and we did a bunch
Oh.
of fun things. One, we had planned, the other, which I think I've told you about this going on, but I haven't been in a very long time. And it just happened to be going on that night. Like I was telling him about it and he was like, "Oh, we should see when that is." And it was literally that night. So we were able to get
What?
tickets. But the first thing we did a little cooking class at the Botanical Gardens.
That's really cool.
It was really fun. I was a little disappointed because we didn't actually get to do cooking. It was just a
Oh.
demonstration, like lecture
Oh, you're
type
watching
deal. Yeah.
somebody? Yeah.
But I will say I feel like I learned a lot because it was a Thai chef.
Mm.
So it was a cuisine I don't normally cook a lot of a
Ooh.
lot from, and I feel cooking classes that have been hands-on before, sometimes I don't learn stuff anymore just because
Yeah.
am a little bit more advanced than the class maybe. So I really did appreciate getting to learn a lot, and we got a signed copy of her cookbook, which was really cool.
What? That's cool.
And then the other thing we did later that night, so the Dallas Art Museum, which I think was in my cozy travel
Mm.
recommendations,
Mhm.
they did their murder mystery game.
Fun! Oh, you haven't talked
Yeah.
about that in a long time. Is that like a once a year thing?
Yeah, but I haven't gone since before
What?
the pandemic or, like, probably, like, 2013, 2014. So it's been a very long
Whoa.
time, but we had a blast.
Cool.
I think I talked about that in the Cozy Travel, but if not, or if you didn't listen to that episode, basically, they will have actors dress up as certain artwork. So one was a statue,
That's so
some
cool.
were paintings, and then you go and interview them and try to figure out who the murderer was. You have to find the taped body in one of the
Mm.
rooms
Dun, dun,
and
dun.
figure out which of the artifacts it was the murder weapon. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh, yay. Did you figure it out or did the group
Yes.
figure it out?
We
Good.
we did on our like third try.
Like, "Is it you?" They're like, "No." You're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, back to it."
Yeah. But we did get there in the end.
Oh,
So
yay. Good job. That's so fun. I do remember you talking about that. I thought you were gonna say, something about, like, a dinner at a museum, but I knew it was a museum. Somehow I knew it in my heart, so
yeah.
that's so fun. What a good weekend,
Yeah,
though.
it was really fun. But what about you? What have you been up to? Thrift and finds?
Yes, I've been thrifting and editing and figuring out just, like I don't know, it's like this weird thing of, like, it feels like I've been really busy, but then it's just been, like, small things all added up, you know?
Oh, but yeah,
But
that's impactful.
right? But this past weekend, we did go to a, like, two-step dance thing.
Oh, yeah, you did text me
It was
about that because you were trying
cute.
to get tickets for a while and then just, like, happened to, like, miss
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, I have a feeling that maybe online or something like that, they accidentally marked it as sold out, but it wasn't because I was like, "Oh, no," but they were, like, literally advertising for it, and I'm like, "Why would you advertise for it if I can't get tickets?" And then, like, randomly, like, 2 tickets popped up, and I was like, give me
Aw,
those."
fun.
So that was very fun. It makes me wanna do, like, a, like, salsa or samba or something like that class. I just feel like that would be so fun, so I have to
Yeah,
see there's gotta be something near me
I
that I can
bet.
drive to,
Or you can
right?
come down here because my friend does salsa dancing.
Oh, I love it. I've done swing in the past. I've
Oh, me
done
too.
East Coast, West Coast, things
Yeah,
like
we could
that.
swing dance together,
Yeah,
that would be fun.
I love it. Those are so fun. There's a place in Denver that, that has swing that's really it's a
Oh,
cool,
cool.
like, feeling inside of it. It's, like, all, like, the
Yeah.
little, like, fairy lights on the ceiling and stuff,
Oh,
so
I love that,
it's
very
really
cozy.
fun. Yeah. So that was
So was
basically
this sorry, was this at, like, a honky tonk or
No, this was I think it's technically a restaurant normally.
okay.
It was a bit of a ways from the house, but, um, it was really fun. I wouldn't say honky tonk, it feels more like a venue/restaurant. slash
Mhm.
restaurant. I've been to some honky tonks, which also are super fun, honestly. It's
Yeah,
so fun to go. But yeah, it was actually all ages. It was like 20 all the way to like 60-year-olds, which was
cute.
cool. So I feel like everybody really had their thing that they knew. And like two-stepping here is a huge deal. And East
Yeah.
Coast two-stepping is not a huge deal. It's more line dancing. So that's more my background. So it's
Yeah.
just fun, like figuring out different things and just I don't know. It sounds like lame to say having a night out, but I feel like a lot of times just because of work and
Yeah.
things like that recently, we just having nights in. And so It was fun to like get out and do a random thing and like find tickets and then buy them within like 12 hours. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I mean, that's how
yeah,
it
like
was with
similar to a
the
museum. Yeah.
yeah, because, like, we were just after the class, we went to grab a drink. It was, like, afternoon, little day drinking, and then we checked, and it was like, "Okay, now we just have to kill, like, 4 hours, and then it's done."
Aw, so fun.
Yeah, and
Now you
did
gotta
your
go to New York.
Yes. Yes, I do. But did your thrifting video come out today?
I'm in the midst of that's like one of the things
Not
where
to
I'm
call
like
you out,
trying to
but
like
I've been
no,
excited to
you're
look
good.
at it.
I think it'll be good. It's not like me thrifting. It's more like talking about like Lorelai Gilmore's style. And then I'm hoping to
Mhm.
do another like follow up of like thrifting it and like trying on and stuff like that. I do have, as you can see in the background, I clearly recorded it recently because I have some for clothes on a hanging rack if you're listening along. But it's really fun. It's very close. It's edited and everything. I'm just doing the thumbnail and
Oh,
then it's
fun.
good to go.
I can't
So,
wait.
so close. Hopefully, we'll definitely by the time this is out. Hopefully by tonight it will be out and
Good.
everybody won't be asleep yet.
That'll be a nice little, like, wind down before bed little moment.
Right? Yeah,
Are
I'm
we
excited.
ready to get into it?
Let's do it. And I'm excited to learn, to be honest. I feel like you know more about this subject than I do, but
Yes. So today we are talking about 90s TV game shows, which
woohoo.
I don't think I've really talked about on here before, but honestly were so my jam growing up. Um, I was very much a Nickelodeon kid, but there was like an added layer. There was Nickelodeon Gas, the Game and
Oh.
Network. I don't know if you had that channel growing up, but that between like Gilmore Girls reruns and Nick Gas, like that was my little summer thing. But like they had, I don't know if any of these will ring a bell for you, Joy, but maybe for the Cozy Detectives. But some of my favorites for those were Legends of the Hidden Temple,
Mhm.
that
I
one,
remember that one.
Double Dare,
Yep.
Figure It Out.
Ooh, I don't remember that one.
Okay, so that one they had this giant like board, but it was like a brain basically, and they had like
Oh.
someone had a hidden talent, and they would have these celebrities try to guess what your hidden secret talent was, and some of them were
Ah.
pretty cool, and then some you're just like, "How did you get picked for this show?"
Oh, I see Amanda Bynes in one of the
Mhm.
photos when I look it up. Cute.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then some of the, oh, I know this guy, but I can't, like, place him. Maybe, like, All That or something like that
Yeah, I
cast?
think they used a lot of the All That cast.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Fun.
With the
I feel like
slime, you
maybe
get
I had
slimed.
it. Oh, is that where the slime comes from? Is it
I
that
mean, they had
show?
it on other shows, but that was a big slime show. Basically,
Mm.
yeah, if they there would be a secret word that the,
Mm.
like, celebrities wouldn't know, and if they said that word, they got slimed.
Dun, dun,
But
dun.
the audience at home would know what it is.
Fun.
So, but yeah, so the one that I'm talking about today was not a Nickelodeon game show. If you didn't know what it was based on my tagline at the beginning, I am talking about Supermarket Sweep today.
I love this is one where I like as a kid, you'd like prep. You're like, when they pick me for supermarket sweep as like a 10-year
Yeah.
old or something.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm gonna study the prices of groceries. I'm gonna, like, know the layout of the
Mhm,
grocery store, which I have some behind the scenes
mhm.
on that.
Mm.
But, yeah, I don't know what it was. This is obviously, like, consumerism and capitalism at its finest. Like, we're gonna make a game show
Love
about
it,
grocery shopping, which honestly
love
kind
it.
of feels like that now with the way grocery prices are, not gonna lie, but anyways, more fun side of things. So, yes, this was a grocery store themed game show.
Love
It
it.
was created by Al Howard and it originally aired. So, there's like 3 iterations of it. I'm
Oh,
specifically
I
going
have
to
that
talk
too.
about the 90s one, but I did watch some of the adaptation or the reboot, but
Ooh.
it first aired in 1965 and ran until 67 and was hosted by Bill Malone. Sorry to this man, I
Oh.
don't know who that is.
Me neither.
But it was revitalized in the 90s and hosted by David Rupert. And that ran from 1990 all the way to 2003. So it ran for a very
Wow.
long time. And David had the best, like, granddad sweaters. I don't know if you remember this, Joy, but, like, very much like cozy grandpa sweaters. I love them. So good. And then the spinoff ran from 2020 to 2022 and was hosted by Leslie Jones.
Oh, that is okay. I mine also has a spinoff that started in 2020.
Oh, they
What?
were like, well, we
Time
don't
to the
have anything
Renaissance.
else to do. Let's make some old game shows.
So true.
um, but I'm essentially going to kind of break down how the game worked, especially if you've never watched it. And then we'll do some behind the scenes at the end. But essentially, for the gameplay, you're going to have 3 teams of 2, and they have some sort of relationship, like a couple, siblings, best friends, neighbors, whatever. So they compete. They're in front of a live studio audience, essentially in a grocery store. And then to be picked, everyone held like a different grocery item. And if your product got called, that was like, come on down.
Oh my gosh. See, this is the thing where, like, I feel like I remember bits and pieces of it, but it's from my
Yeah.
brain from watching it. I had no recollection of that one.
I will occasionally, not gonna lie. So, if you, I don't know if you have a Roku, but if you do, there's a whole game show. Uh, well, there's a game show channel, but there's a specific supermarket sweep Roku channel, and they just
What?
play it all day long.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to steal that from you later
Yeah.
because I have Roku, but I don't know what the channel number is or what
Yeah,
what
I think if you just pull up the different, like, channel, you can just
I'll
search,
just,
like,
like, click through
supermarket
it.
sweep. Mhm.
Dun, dun,
I'll
dun.
see
Okay,
if I
will
can
do.
figure out the number and send that to you, and then
Yeah.
we'll add it in, but basically, so once they have the 3 teams, there's 3 rounds of play. So there's like the question rounds, it's like multiple rounds of like trivia questions, the big sweep, which was the most iconic in my mind,
Most
and then the
iconic.
bonus sweep at the end. And then if you want to get technical, they also do little mini sweeps, and that began in 1991. So that's part of
Oh.
the question round. So the game would actually start with a mini sweep. David would basically, the question would be asked in the form of like a rhyming couplet. So the answer would be some sort of like name brand product,
Yeah.
and the rhyme would be about it. So it would help you figure out what
Like,
the,
find it and figure it
yeah.
yeah.
So the half of the team, so like 3 of them, so one half of the team of 2 would guess the answer, and then if they got that right, their partner would get to run through the little grocery store to find that. And so if they got the answer right, they would get 20 seconds, and then if the partner got it, found it, and brought it back, they would get, like, an extra time for their sweep total. So, you don't win, like, points, you just win seconds that would go towards your big sweep run, essentially. And then they started adding in, like, bonus money for your big sweep total, and then they doubled that in
Mm.
1992. So, lots of little added ways to earn money.
Yeah, I remember, like, the pressure or, like, I like watching this, but, like, feeling the pressure of the time click like, ticking down and, like, you're like,
Yeah.
"No, go, go," and they're, like, trying to find the thing and
Yeah, and I think what's so fun about this one is the added physicality of it, like,
Mhm,
obviously,
mhm.
oh, I didn't mention this one, but Nick Guts was also a big one on the Gas channel. I don't know if you watched the Guts. It's basically like
Oh,
the
look at
Kid
that.
Olympics, essentially.
Oh,
Yeah,
no, I maybe I didn't have this channel or something because I remember certain bits and pieces of it, but I'm, like, I'm wondering if I
mhm.
was just, like, at a friend's house.
Maybe, but I may have to do a like, a side mini episode of all the Nick
Yeah!
shows.
Oh, you
Um
should.
That
That'd
would
be
be
awesome.
fun. When you're a Little Woman, you do your Little Woman, I'll do a separate, like, Nick
Deal.
Nick Gas. Anyways, I just love the physicality of game shows because, yeah, you could be really smart, but can you be smart and have the athleticism to do well too? Like, I don't know, I
Yeah.
like those combined. So getting into the question rounds, they have different quote unquote games that involve the grocery store brands. Again, this is very much like pro consumerism. It's like you're watching a whole ad essentially in the form
Kinda
of a
true,
game show.
yeah.
Um, so they would do where one person from each team would do a round of questions, and then they would swap for the other person, and then they do a round robin where you essentially every question you switch teams. So
Oh,
yeah, it's, you had to be like paying attention to do well
yeah.
in this game. But they would essentially get a chance to answer questions in the round robin. Um, occasionally they did a little spin-off game called the 30-second shootout game. So basically each team plays their own little question round on their own. One member was given a list of words and they had 30 seconds to get their teammate to say as many of them as possible, which kind of reminds me of $1,000 Pyramid. And you know that Friends
Yeah.
episode where Joey's like, paper, snow, a ghost.
Yeah. I almost changed my case file
Oh,
to that because I watched the $1,000 Pyramid a lot, but I also
yeah,
watched mine.
so
So
good.
yeah, it's a good one.
And then after the question round, we would go to, well, commercial break, obviously, but the big sweep would be next. And
Mm,
so, how this works is you would designate one team member who would run through the grocery store with a shopping cart. They'd pick items, put them in the cart, and you're trying to earn the highest grocery bill by the
yep.
end of your time. So, all three teams do race at the same time, but you get released into the store based on how much time you earned in the question rounds.
Yeah.
And you had a color coordinated sweatshirt that indicated your team's ability. So if you're on team one, you had teal. If you're team two, you had magenta. And if you're three, you had yellow. And then you have a nice little fake white collar underneath, like I am
Cute.
wearing if you are only listening. And apparently, I was upset to learn this, Joy.
Uh-oh.
You only got to keep the sweatshirt if you were in, second or third or, like, you lost. Like, if you
What?
won,
The
you
winners
didn't get
don't
to
get
keep. I know. What a
what?
bummer, right?
That's lame. This is one of those times too where I'm like, okay, go to eBay, supermarket sweep
You know, I
sweaters.
was like, "Joy, can you make us some?"
Yeah, right.
I think it would be pretty easy to do with
I feel like it'd be cute.
your little Rosita.
Oh, it's so fun. There's just like signed photos of the host. Oh, here's one. Oh, so they do have some. Oh, right. There's a game board.
Oh, cute.
It's a little
They make
game
a
board.
game board of everything, I feel.
Honestly, especially like a game show like this. But what are you supposed to do? Like run around and like sweep things with your fingers?
Maybe
Like
you, like, have to raid your pantry. That would be kind of fun, actually.
that's me on a daily basis. I daily basis play supermarket sweep.
Oh, so good. Um, so essentially, yeah, they're running through putting items into their carts. There's three main rules. One, you can only get five of one item.
Hmm.
Two, only one partner could run the race. The other had to stay behind this red line. And then three, if you knocked an item onto the ground and you didn't pick it back up or you damaged it, the you would have a $25 penalty for each item you either kept on the ground or damaged. And then also, if they ran into the supermarket displays, cameramen, or any like personnel opponents, they were penalized $100. So it's
Well,
kind of a big
good.
deal. Yeah.
Don't be hitting people.
But
I
there
know.
was, I have a, when I get to the behind the scenes, there is something that like tried to cause that chaos in the very beginning,
Oh
which
no.
I don't know if I particularly remember because I think this was like before I started watching. Um, so the contestants actually get to know all of the prices and the layout of the store ahead of time, which
Mm.
I didn't know this
I didn't
until
know
doing some research. There's really only 4 aisles of the whole store. They make
either.
it seem like it's this like massive
Where is it?
store and they're
Yeah.
like, but the aisles are pretty small and there's only four. So it's actually pretty easy to like run into stuff apparently.
Mhm.
And then, so if you've never watched it, or if you have and you're like, why do they always kind of go for the same thing? Like they go for
Th
the laundry detergent, the
Yep,
big meats.
yep.
But I always thought, and maybe this might be not good. I just thought the best strategy would just kind of like armful it, like just knock everything off
Absolutely.
and just, but they would always be like, we have to get this thing and this thing and this thing. And they would like, so I don't know. I couldn't find anything on this. I want to know if there was a rule where there was only certain items in
Mm.
play. So
Ooh.
like, even though on the display you might see
Yeah.
like eight, like five different types of meats, you could only pick up these specific turkeys. Because
That
I'm
or
like,
like, you know how, like, in Blockbuster where you'd, like, go behind the things and just be, like,
the
paper, and it's,
fake,
like, not the
yeah.
actual, yeah, it's, like, the fake one? Or, like, maybe, like, if you go too far down, it's just, like, the fake things and it doesn't
Yeah.
count or something, just, like, try and make it look full?
Yeah, because I'm like, I
Oh.
get that you can only get 5 of one item, but, like, why
Yeah.
can't you do, like, 5 turkeys and then 5 hams and then 5 chickens? And
Yeah.
I would literally just be, like, arm knocking things off, but I think you could only there are certain, like, in-game items is my theory.
Mm.
Um, but then in addition to getting items, you could also get bonuses to, like, really amp up your grocery bill. So there's a bunch of different, like, bonuses throughout the season, so I'll kind of talk about the ones I remember and I think the more well-known ones, but some were these, like, giant stuffed animals or inflatable objects just kinda spread throughout the store,
Oh, yeah.
and you have to grab one and put it in your cart and then rip off the little price tag sticker to reveal, like, $50, $200 as a little extra bonus, and I didn't say this, but once your shopping cart is full, you are able to go back and get a new one, and that's part of the chaos where they're, like, running full speed into the checkout line and their team partner is, like, shoving another cart at them. It's I live for
Yo.
the chaos.
I know. Very 90s chaos for
Yes,
sure. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, in the best way. I also I always thought it would stink to be that person that's just standing behind that line.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you don't get to play unless you go to
"Yeah."
the big s or bonus sweep at the end. I thought you were gonna say it I feel like it would stink in there, and it would. I'll get to that in the behind the
Mm.
scenes.
Oh. Oh,
But
yeah, 'cause the groceries,
yeah,
like,
they had some real food, but we'll get to
oh.
that. Some of the other bonuses, David would have a shopping list, or sometimes they would do a manager special where they would have specific lists of items, and you would have to get one, and you'd have to get every item on that list to get the bonus. Um, they would have a canned food bin, and you'd have to like dig through the cans to find like
Mm.
a specific one. Um, you could grind coffee beans, but you this was I always would get annoyed when they would do this. I'm like, "You're wasting your time. It's only, an extra, like, $100, but you have to stand there and press the grind button." And I'm like, "Unless you are, like, wild
Yeah.
long arm grabbing it, you're wasting your time. It's better
Agreed.
to get all of it." I don't feel a lot of people, if they did coffee beans, I don't think they made it to the final round, but that's just me being a nerd. And then you could also, like, bag candy too, and this also I feel like is a waste of time because you had to get it exactly worth a dollar with, like, a 2-cent margin of error, and that would give you, like, 100 extra dollars, but again, you're just wasting time standing there when you could
Yeah.
be running.
Yeah, go get those hams.
Exactly. So then after the big sweep, you would go to the bonus sweep if you had the highest total grocery bill at the end. So how the bonus sweep works, you get 60 seconds to win an additional I'm going to be a little bit of a dork because the way David says it right here, and Jacqueline and I will just occasionally just like shout this out at home, but he's like, for an extra $5,000.
Oh,
So we'll just,
yeah.
like, say $5,000.
Very on brand.
Yeah. Anyways, so they would get that money plus whatever they won in the big sweep.
Mm.
So how this would
How
work
much typically did they get in the, like, the regular
it
sweep round?
early on, it would be maybe, like, 700, 800, but
Mhm.
then you get it to, like, 1,500,
Oh.
but you weren't going on, supermarket sweep to make the big bucks.
That's true. You're going for the love of the sweep.
Honestly, because and then I was reading in, like, articles about this, you didn't even really get your money unless your episode, like, went into syndication. So if they didn't,
Oh.
like, play your episode, you wouldn't even get the winnings even if you won.
Oh,
So, you're not
no.
going on for, like, "Let me pay for college."
Yeah.
So the bonus sweep was 60 seconds. So David would read one of the rhyming couplets, and then the time would start. And so you'd have to go and find the answer to the first clue. That product would then have the second clue and the second rhyming couplet. And then you'd have a third and final clue to the last item. And
Oh,
that
somehow I
product
remember this round more than the first round.
it's
Random.
like because it's like high
Are
stakes
they gonna
the
do
end.
it? Yeah.
And so the money would be in this like fan display of the $5,000. um, and in order to win, one teammate had to be touching the cash. So it couldn't be like you found the item, you had to be touching the money in order to actually win within the 60 seconds.
Stress.
I know. And then if they didn't win, they got $200 for each item that they got in the bonus sweep plus the big sweep total. So they
But
apparently
did they?
if they went
Yeah.
to syndication. Um so a little bit of extra behind the scenes. The first prize that they offered, other than the $5,000,
That should just be the title of this episode. Just,
fine,
like, no
that's
context,
yeah,
just $5,000. Oh, that's
that
should be
should
our
be the trailer.
thumbnail.
Yeah, or the trailer's just me saying it like all the different takes.
Yeah, where it's, like, Gen Z edits it, it's just all the breathes.
Don't make me spit out my water. But anyways, the first prize other than the money, they offered a trip to Paris, and that
What?
was given out as part of Gourmet Week in 1992. So
Ooh,
I'm like, "That's pretty
ballin',
snazzy." I
yeah.
would go on I would go on Supermarket Sweep just for the fun of it, but I would go on to win a trip to Paris.
Yeah.
Okay, so I said early on they had stuff to, like, make you knock into things, so they had these things called the Market Monsters in the first season during the big sweep, so they would have these, like, actors dress up as different monsters and,
Oh,
like, run into your cart and try to cause penalties. And I think they were like, "Okay, we have enough chaos. I don't think we need to add this in too."
oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm trying to
Yep.
find them. Oh, they're kinda
Yeah,
scary
right?
looking.
I know. That I didn't
Mm-mm,
really
don't
have
like.
memory of that, so
No, we
they
all blacked that
were
out, I
for the
think.
first season. Um, and then this is kind of cool to learn. So as I mentioned, this was a sequel, essentially. The first one aired in the 60s, and that version was actually filmed in real working grocery stores in the New York metro area
What?
instead of
Fun.
like the four-aisle set in the 90s. So I thought that was cool. Like you should be working at a grocery store and like, oh, we're gonna come film today.
That's fun.
And then they actually filmed with real food. Um, but they not all of it, they did have some fake stuff, but they would just use the same products for months on end.
Mm.
So they sometimes apparently if they just used fake meat, that would have been more expensive than just reusing the rotten food. But I'm like, if you buy the meat, you're good for years. Like you don't have to.
Yeah.
Anyways, but David Rupert said like by month 3 it would be real stanky in there.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, because
Yeah.
then everyone's in the audience like, "Pick me,
Yeah,
pick
I'm like, "No
me."
thanks." And then also kind of another, like, want side of things, they would film multiple episodes in a day, and so if you
Mm.
were competing, you'd have to be there all day and sometimes be there for, like, 12 to 14 hours, like, waiting for your turn
Oh.
to go, and apparently they would do kind of, like, all of the question rounds all at once and then the sweep all at once.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, it sounded almost like a day of shooting Gilmore Girls because they also had real food that
Yeah.
started to stink.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, those are both very long days of like, oh, it's like they say, what is it? It's kids or animals that's not fun to film with. But I would add like when you're either supposed to be eating food or like
Yeah.
within food in there for a long time. That's rough. And also, I guess they would just be like the extras for the other episodes then if they're all just sitting in the audience. So like, are you just extras for this
Yeah.
episode, but then you're like your episode's coming in like 3 hours or whatever?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's how it worked. Hopefully, it wasn't they were just, like, locked in a green room or something all day.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't even
Oh,
have your phone to, like, scrolly scroll to make it time go by faster.
just sitting there. I
Maybe
do
you had your
remember
Game
that
Boy.
one. Aw, cute. I know. Think about Game Boy. I never had one of those. I always wanted one though. But I feel like that's also a thing as a kid. Like I remember, like you were saying about, like, the sweeping arms and stuff, like,
Mhm.
I never understood that either. Maybe they were only allowed to have a certain number of things, so they're like, "Don't touch this area," or something, because maybe you have to, like,
Yeah.
reset it if it's gonna be a 12-hour shoot or something.
Yeah, that's true. Because I would just be, like, dumping everything into my cart, not like,
Yeah.
"Let me pick out the specific brand of batteries because they're worth 2 cents more than this kind." I don't know.
Yeah, that one's not worth it. It gives me vibes of, here's $20, go see a Star War from, it's the mom from Arrested Development. It's like she's,
Oh,
like,
I
so
never saw that.
she's so unaware of what things cost, and this is years and years ago, but she's like, "Here's $20, go see a Star War," and it's like, meanwhile, the supermarkets with people are, like, to the penny of it. They
Yeah.
know all the things.
Yeah.
Ugh, fun. But you
Well,
said there was a reboot too, right?
oh, yeah, so in 2020, Leslie Jones, it was on Netflix. I did watch
Mm.
at least the first season of it, and that kind of got a little wild. You could win a lot of money, and this was a little bit of a gambling to it. So in that final
Oh.
sweep, you could tap out and keep your money, or you could get the next clue and
Ah.
double it, but it was not $5,000. It was like you could win like 100, 500,000 because, no one's gonna go on game show for 5,000 anymore.
I know, honestly. Yeah, that's so interesting. So, um, getting into my case
Mhm.
file is about Weakest Link. Loved. I also
Iconic.
didn't realize that, and, like, now looking back and rewatching certain things, like, obviously, the main lady, Anne Robinson, is, like, playing a character, being,
Oh,
like, that,
yeah. You
like,
just thought she
stone
was
cold.
mean?
I just thought she was mean. I was, like, sitting there with my grandma just watching it, being like, "This
Aw.
lady, I don't know how she got this job," um, but in, Weakest Link as well, they had a reboot, but the reboot, I wanna say it was like $1 million prize.
Wow.
Yeah, so the top prize was $1 million in the reboot that started in 2020, and it's hosted by Jane Lynch and is still going,
Oh,
apparently. There's
I
still
forgot
episodes
it
coming
was her. I did hear that she was doing it, but that fell out of my brain, but that's cool that it's
Right?
still going. Do you know where you can
Yeah.
watch it?
I don't know that actually. I can find that out and we'll put that in the show notes. Um, but it's so interesting too because the US version, there's a UK and a US version of it. And the US version is hosted by Anne Robinson. I think as well. This is where like my brain starts getting confused because there's there's some episodes that I remember so specifically that I feel like were the British ones, but I don't know how I would have watched it. I mean, it was on BBC. It started on BBC Two, and then because it was so popular, it then went to BBC One, which I didn't know that's how that worked
Ooh,
until this. I know, right?
yeah.
Starts counting down. So it started in 2000. In 2001 is when it moved to BBC One, and then in 2002 is when they introduced celebrity editions. So there would be
Ooh.
like in the more recent ones, there's been like The Bachelor has gone on, or the episode that I kind of dived into because I thought it was funny is the cast of Doctor Who in
Oh,
2007 went
wow.
on.
That's funny.
And so it's Tennant who is the doctor at that point. So
Oh,
he's like
iconic.
iconic. Um, have you watched Doctor Who? Or
No,
like,
but
okay.
I've seen enough of his clips to know he's apparently the best one.
Yeah, there's a debate between him and Matt Smith, but I think I'm Tennant, but Matt Smith's closely behind, but
Yeah.
they're both good. But she has that very, very dry humor. And then I'm gonna start at the end with my tidbit that I was like, "What?" Because I did not remember this. When she says, "You are the weakest link. Goodbye." What happens?
Oh, I've heard about this Mandela Effect. I
Yeah,
Yes, where you think that they fall through a trapdoor, but apparently
yeah.
they don't.
They just walk
I
off.
No, there was a trapdoor, there had to
I
be.
know. I was shook. I like in going back and looking up the episodes. I watched the first episode and she was like, "You're the weakest link. Goodbye." And the person walked off, and I was like,
Huh?
"No, no, 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 no."
Yeah, I remember learning that
Things.
within, like, a year or so ago and being like, "I don't believe you.
I
We had a
know.
timeline glitch."
I know. I think it's because so the reason I didn't think that they were telling us the truth of it is because the first episode that I, like, saw and I was like, "Oh, let me rewatch this," was the Doctor Who one. I'm like, "Of course they wanna have the celebrities go through the floor. They're gonna have the randos." And then I,
Classy
like,
way.
watched other episodes and I was like, "No, everybody's just walking off, all calm, cool, and collected," like and then they have this little exit interview being like, "I don't know why I was the one voted off by the group and blah, blah, blah." Um, so Cozy Detectives, if you remembered that they walked off, let us know because I would have bet money that they fell through the floor, to be honest with you.
I know. I'm glad
Um,
we're on the same timeline though.
that's true. Because there's some of these were like, I almost would still argue that, but I'm like, I guess it's just not
Yeah.
true. But I don't know. It's like that's like a wild thing to be like, pretty sure.
Yeah.
But her on-screen persona was based upon like old school headmistresses, and so she
Oh.
wanted to be like very stern. And so it's kind of funny. There's been like a couple times in a couple clips where people will kind of like break that persona for her. Like someone will say something funny or make a joke or something, and then she'll kind of
Yeah.
crack, and everyone's like, "Ha ha ha, gotcha."
Gotcha.
Um, but
Cute.
the US show started in 2001, so that debuted on NBC, and then it says, like so I think both were hosted by her, which is kind of wild because I'm like, I don't know if they would have, like, filmed at different places or what, but then they changed over, so NBC canceled so in the US, NBC canceled the primetime version after 2 seasons, and then there was a daytime version hosted by George Gray, and that ran for 1 more season, so this show in the US only ran from 2001 technically to 2003.
Oh.
This one I thought it ran so much longer, but I feel like
Yeah.
it's because the UK show ran for a super long time. So
Yeah.
started in 2000, ran till like 2017 or 2011, I think is what it was. Then they had a special in 2017, and then the US one came back in 2020. And so I feel like it's just like slowly trickling through all of our brains.
Yeah.
Um, but it's so interesting. So they have the different rounds of it. So how it works is um there's 10 seconds less in each round, and after each round you vote off the weakest link, quote unquote. But it is brutal. I also didn't remember that, like, to each other's faces, so they're like silent voting of like, okay, I think Joy should be voted off, but
Yeah.
then it pops up in front of their little stage that says they think Joy should be voted off, and then they have to like all be like, I think she stinks because of this. So I'm like,
Yeah,
you didn't answer the question,
it's a mean show.
right?
Mine's like little
Brutal.
grocery store vibes, and then yours is like cutthroat.
I know. I feel like I think I liked so some of the questions that were like softballs for the Doctor Who crew. I was like,
Mhm.
"What? This is lame." But some of them are like real intense, and I'm like, I don't know some of those answers to things, or like, what is this island in the middle of this area? And I'm like, I do not know that. It was also parodied. It's been parodied in The Simpsons, in Family Guy, in Robot Chicken, and then in Doctor Who.
Oh,
So
that's
Doctor
so
Who
meta.
did it. I know, and she voices the Dalek.
Oh, no
So
way.
it's cute, but like that one's intense. I feel like that's the one that also started the Mandela effect in our head because they I don't know how to say that, but they exterminate. That's the way to say it. They
Mm.
exterminate people in that one because it's supposed to be super
Oh,
dystopian.
jeez.
And then I guess in my brain that equaled falling down a hole. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Um, but so the goal is to get to the top. So you're trying to create this chain. So each person answers a question and she kind of works down the row. And you have to get the question right. If you get the question wrong, then the chain link gets broken and you start back at the bottom. It can be 50,000 or it can be 10,000 pounds a round was the Doctor Who one, but it's like some of the US ones were like you're trying to get up to like $1 million or something like at the end of
Yeah.
it, which is
Oh,
crazy pants.
and then I know I this is, like, coming back to me when you said that because I forgot about that whole, like, working of the chain. I
Yeah.
would get so mad. Are you gonna talking about banking?
Yes.
Oh, I would get so mad when people wouldn't bank, and I'm like, "You're
Yeah. Yeah, because if she's going down the row and
Mhm.
you get the question wrong, but you don't bank it, you start at the beginning. If she's going down the row and before she finishes asking the question to you, you can say bank, and so you bank all of that money and then you start back at the bottom,
Yeah.
which feels like an obvious thing. Like a lot of the way that people didn't end up winning the amount of money that they wanted is because nobody like they just like wouldn't bank and they would just think that they can keep climbing the chain and
Yeah.
then they wouldn't. And so,
Yeah,
ugh,
and I get because it's part of it's a gamble of like, "Oh, I think I can get higher," and
yeah,
then other, it's like you're so in the zone, but
yep.
and I know it's different as a little kid watching it, but because I totally forgot about that aspect, like, I remembered the voting and the questions, but as soon as you
Mhm.
said the chain, I was like, and they wouldn't say baked, and I would my little competitive self be like, "You didn't say baked."
Right? But a thing that apparently happened, which I can totally understand because I feel like even on the podcast, sometimes my brain will be like, "What's that word? I don't remember it."
Yeah.
But, like, when there is, like, the pressure of
Oh,
walking
for
down that
sure.
chain on the
Yeah.
line, a lot of people would forget questions that later they'd be like, "I absolutely knew the answer to that," or, like,
Yeah.
"That was a very simple answer," but they would just, like, blank, and I'm like, "Oh, brutal."
Yeah.
Um, and so I just feel like I wrote, "Shuck, they walk off." That was,
Oh,
like, my biggest, like, crazy thing that happened. But at the end of the show, a lot of times for, like, the celebrity editions or for certain edition like, other type of editions, it would be for charity too, which is really cool. So the Doctor Who one was, for charity, and the winner of that one was, trying to remember the actress's name. She plays Rose's mom. Sorry, Cozy
can't help you there,
Detectives.
sorry.
But she plays Rose's mom, so she was the one that ended up winning that
This is where they're all yelling at
edition.
us in the car.
I know, right? I'm like, I wrote it down. I can't find it right now. Um, but I really, oh, there we go. Camille. Ha
I
ha
was
ha.
like, post-editing, Joy could just be like, "Camille."
Yes. I know. I thought about doing that before. Camille plays Rose Tyler's mom, so she won for her charity. Um, I feel like it's so funny because I don't know if I just didn't watch too many different. Oh, I'm gonna pivot myself. The lights in
Oh,
my
yeah,
eyes
it's your getting you.
slowly rotate. I don't know if I just maybe didn't watch too many game shows somehow. I feel like I was in my Gilmore Girls era because, like, in looking at the time frame of this, I'm like, okay, I'm in Gilmore Girls at this point. I'm in Gilmore Girls and I'm in Stargate. Those are my two tried and true. So
Also, we talked about my 2 personalities, those are your 2 sides of your
yeah,
personality.
it's like super cozy and like random,
The
like
Mummy.
nerdy. I love it. I still love it. I stand the mummy. So funny.
You know, I
I
just
wish
have to
you
tease you
liked it 'cause there's a
sometimes.
there's a second one, and I'm like, I don't think I'm getting her to watch that second, but oh well.
Maybe
But
one day.
that's week is like it's entertaining. It's still entertaining, but it's also like a little hokey. But there's sometimes where like when she breaks or like when the people are super like random answering questions, like there's like a famous answer to a question. Where was that one? What letter of the alphabet is used to say 1000 in Roman numerals? And their person's answer was Z. So I feel like sometimes people
Oh,
just
no.
like
Yeah, it's just the
panic answer.
pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bang!
I know.
I was just gonna say, I think it for I haven't watched the reboot, but I feel Jane Lynch was perfectly cast for that
But
because
she's nicer. Like she's not playing
which
like Sue
which is
Sylvester.
that's what I'm like, she was that
That's what
character.
I
I
thought.
assume, like, she could just be Sue Sylvester up there. That's how
Nah,
Sue
she was
sees
nice.
it.
I forgot about that. Yeah, no, she was like not too nice. That's like lame. But I think what it is, I'm
Yeah,
just was used to like the very like dry like
yeah. Well, I think
personality.
that's part
She
of,
was
like,
very nice, and I was like,
British
leave.
humor is just drier than ours
Yeah,
too, so that was
yeah,
probably part of it, but
yeah. That's true. But
love it. Super
that's
fun.
weakest link.
I'm still
What's
upset
your
about the trapdoor.
Me too. I like legit that was, like, my biggest thing where I watched, like, 2 or 3 different episodes to make sure that, like, they really didn't fall through. I was, like, picking different
Yeah.
years. I was like, "Maybe it was in 2002 it
Yeah,
happened."
well, maybe they just, like yeah, because I could see it being early on, and then there was too much of, like, a
That's what I
dangerous
thought.
lawsuit waiting to happen, but I
Nope.
also like how this was very much like our cozy 1900s and yours wasn't actually the 1900s. That's like this one. Not quite the 90s, but very
Yeah,
close.
close. Close, close.
Super
But what
cute,
is your
though. It was a
2%
fun
cozy?
one.
Yeah, I liked learning about yours. I liked remembering it because I feel like I definitely watched it, but it wasn't until like the biggest thing I remembered somehow was obviously them like sweeping through, but them like turning things over and trying to do the clues. I didn't remember that that was a whole different segment.
Yeah.
They said I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
I did watch this like, this was a me, my mom, and my sister, like, all sit down to watch
mm.
it show, and then it was iconically paired right after this one. I didn't love as much, but it was still good, but it was Shop to Drop. Again, these
Ah,
like consumerism games, but
so many.
that one would come on right after. And so
Is
yeah, we
that
would
the
just
one I feel like because that was almost one of my case files. Is that the one where you were guessing the price of the item?
they did some of that. That's I mean, most notably probably Price is Right. Shop to Drop had a
Okay.
little bit of that, but they basically had this like two-story like fake mall storefront set
Oh.
and they had these like giant presents that you would like go and grab at the storefronts.
Oh. See, I'm out here watching, like, Nick at Night versions of game shows, like the pyramid and stuff.
Yeah, all good. But I know you keep trying to ask for my 2%,
No, you're
so
good.
I will dive into that. Um, I was very much feeling this like 90s nostalgia. I mean, always, but especially with doing the case file research. So my friend introduced me to this YouTube video. It's 8 hours, so it's like a perfect all day at work. It is Weather Channel Vaporwave.
What's that?
So, if you don't know what vaporwave is, for anyone, I don't know if you enjoy, know or not, but it's just like it's kind of like a jazzy lo-fi kind of vibe. So it's that,
Oh.
which was kind of like the music of 90s Weather
Oh,
Channel.
yeah.
And it's very much of, like, I was getting ready for school, my mom would have that on, like, all morning, and I would just, like, be getting ready with this, like, cozy little jazzy vibe, and so she, like, told me about this, and I put it on, and I'm, like, immediately, like, sucked back into childhood listening to this because like,
Whoa.
who puts on a Weather Channel now? But it, like, immediately transported me back, and it I'll have to send it to you because it has, like, original, like, Weather Channel, like, footage, including
What?
like, it doesn't have the sound on this part, but it has, like, vintage commercials.
Love. I don't
Yeah,
know
like,
why, I just love them so
I
much.
know, like, when in that episode where, like, Lorelai talks about, "Oh, no, it has the original commercials, that's half the fun," and I feel like now that
It
would be
really
half the
is.
fun.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I know sometimes when I was, in the past when I was doing the nostalgia collection, I was looking up, like, childhood, like, commercials from, like, Nickelodeon and stuff like that, and then, like,
Fun.
Gushers and, like, it's like, I
Oh,
love
wait,
it.
I didn't like those though where their heads would turn into fruit, it freaked me out.
Yeah, first they're sour, then they're sweet. Listen,
Okay,
yeah.
you need to go into voice acting because you did your little, like, little kid Joy voice a few episodes back, so you're very talented at that.
I just full of random voices.
Oh, what was
My
your 2%?
yeah, mine actually was today because okay, so there was, like, a few things. 1, I was having a little bit of a rough day.
Aw.
2, I was, like, hungry, and so I was like, "Okay, I have to find something that's gluten-free," which I don't always love a Starbucks, but they have, like, a cheese something egg thing that's
Mhm.
gluten-free, and it's really good. And so I had that, and then I saw that there was a I like matcha, so there's an iced matcha with, like, lavender cold foam, and I was like, "Okay, this is either
Oh,
gonna be delicious or, like, super yucky."
disgusting.
Yeah. So I was like 50-50. I'll get a small. It was actually really good. I'm
Mhm.
hoping it's consistently good over a bunch of different Starbucks, but the one that I had was very good. And I made a conscious choice to like get it as a little treat to myself. So that's why I felt like it was like my 2%.
Yeah.
And then I was going to and from the post office and I was wearing overalls. I looked down at my overalls and there was a little ladybug just
Aw,
hanging out with me in the
cute.
car. And I was like, that's perfect. And so
Yay.
that was my 2% because I don't know, it really just did make my day a little bit, like, happier and cozier, and I was hung out with my little ladybug. I
Cute.
was
Well,
so
hope she
happy.
brings you some luck.
Oh, she gone, or he
Aw.
gone, whoever it is. They gone. Just, like, flew away when I, took it outside,
Hopefully
but
they
it's cute.
blessed you with a little bit of luck.
Yeah. Yeah, a little God wink, I'll take it. What are the cozy detectives 2%?
So I have a DM from Emmy Mai, and I actually had seen so they were talking about this new Instagram account that they found, and I got them a couple times on TikTok,
Ooh.
right up our alley, Joy. So it's called at the Holiday Classics. And Emmy, the person who sent this, has been geeking out over the 90s and early 2000s holiday decorations. So they just show a
Ooh.
bunch of different like photos and stuff from like our childhood. So it's like all the
I
vibes.
love this. I'll wait to look it up when we're done.
Yeah,
Freezing my
because 'cause
mind,
you'll
I'm like,
be
"I'm gonna look
sucked
it up."
in.
Yeah.
And also, Emmy lives our new logo.
Yay!
Yeah.
That makes us happy.
Yes,
Very
very
much
much
so.
so. We said that the same
We're
time.
we're 1 year in. 1 year
Sick.
and 3 years in, we're just like, "Ooh."
Love it.
Well, thank you for listening. So glad that you love the logo. Happy to have you in the blanket fort. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube.
Yoto.
.com at Blanket Fort Files Pod. Send us your 2% codes here. Please subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Join us next week in the Blanket Fort, where we're going to discuss the coziness of friends to lovers stories.
Oh, I'm so excited. You're gonna do that. I'm like gonna explode. You are the weakest link.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.